So we always talk about foreign policy as much as we can because we believe it's so important. Half our GDP, right? Half of the budget, excuse me, the United States budget is spent on foreign policy. In fact, foreign policy wise, we spend more than the next 10 countries combined. So this is something to pay attention to right now because we talk about Iran. Everybody thinks it's just Iran. What could happen? It could really spin out of control because if you're messing with Iran, you're messing with China. Just that's the bottom line. China is heavily invested in Iran. In fact, I think that's why a lot of congressional members, lawmakers, neocons want to push back against Iran so badly because they want to hurt Iran. China's investment in Iran has increased 10 times. Head of Iran Investment Organization, the main Chinese investment projects are in the field of logistics and port services, constructions of bridges and mines. And that's the problem right now if the populist right and Donald Trump does get in, right? The left already has their problems. The neocons want war with Iran. Senator John Kennedy said the other day, these people over there hate Americans. They want to drink our blood out of boots. I mean, they're crazy. But China says U.S. failure to implement Gaza's ceasefire to blame for the Middle Eastern tensions over there. And that is in China over there. China has accused the United States of stoking already high tensions in the Middle East due to its failure to implement a ceasefire in Gaza and its retaliatory airstrikes on Iran-backed groups in Iraq and Syria. Everybody wants a ceasefire. In fact, they're kind of, smearing people who just want simply a ceasefire. A lot of those people in those rallies, they're not pro-Palestinian. They're anti-death. They just want a ceasefire. In a strongly worded speech at the UN Security Council on Monday, Zhang Jun, China's UN ambassador, criticized the U.S. for defying appeals from its Arab allies and much of the international community in backing a permanent ceasefire. China has repeatedly emphasized that an immediate ceasefire in Gaza is a critical overriding prerequisite for everything else and a top priority for international diplomatic affairs, June said. All parties should heed the strong call and the overwhelming consensus of the international community and support the Security Council in taking strong actions to promote an immediate ceasefire, he added. The U.S. has become increasingly isolated in the international community for using its veto at the UN Security Council to block ceasefire efforts. And this is from Middle East Eye. Instead of a permanent ceasefire, and I love this here, the wording that goes on, the way they do this little Texas two-step that is the United States foreign policy apparatus, U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan reiterated on Sunday that Washington was seeking a sustained pause in hostility. A pause, they say. What does that mean? They can pause, try to get their hostages, and as soon as that pause is over, go back to bombing civilians, women, and children to the ruins, to get the remaining Israeli captives out of Gaza and funnel more humanitarian aid into the Strip. That's what they throw in there, that little caveat. We need to get aid in there. We need just to pause. But we can't do that because Hamas, and if we stop now, Hamas will build support, international sympathy, and they'll just grow and grow and grow. So right now is the only time, it's the best chance we get to get rid of them. Let's get them out of there. Some people disagree. Some people think it's just all about a land grab, and they're trying to bomb it back to the Stone Age, and that's why they're doing what they're doing. Israel's devastating bombing campaign on Gaza, now in its 5th month, has killed at least 27,500 and displaced more than 1.9 Palestinians. I hear numbers that are bigger than that. I hear 2.1 million Palestinians are displaced. I hear 30,000 Palestinians are killed. The numbers are crazy. There are people lying under the rubble. It is sad, and something needs to be done about it. The incessant bombardment and damage to crucial infrastructure, coupled with the resource strain that has emerged from the mass displacement of Palestinians from northern Gaza, has resulted in large parts of the population struggling to find food and drinkable water. It's had a strain on them to try to find cover, ladies and gentlemen. They're still getting bombed on a regular basis. They're told, leave this area, go to this area, you'll be safe, and they get bombed. But I do still think the people are resilient. I think a lot of people aren't going to leave, that this whole plan to get rid of them is not going to work. And there's a lot of sympathy growing into the international community because we have shows like this, shows out there of independent media. We have Instagram. We have TikTok. They're showing the damage and what's going on, and people are seeing what's going on. They're seeing women and children being killed at an alarming rate. It's sad. And what does the United States want to do? They want to use this as an excuse. Hamas, 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 Hamas. Who's Hamas being funded by? It's being funded by Iran. Everybody against the United States in that region, for some reason, any type of security specialist that comes out for the United States and the foreign policy apparatus will say that Iran is behind it. But if you're messing with Iran, you're messing with China. Look at this. Iran, Russia, and China will organize a joint naval exercise to ensure regional security in the Middle East. Ladies and gentlemen, this is dangerous right here. People have to understand the significance of what's going on. Iran is just not some dinky little country that you can bomb back to the Stone Age. And that's what people think. They think that these countries in the Middle East are just primitives, that they're throwing spears and chucking rocks. No, Iran has a whole distribution line of drones coming out of it. Yeah, a lot of drones that end up in Yemen come from Iran. We understand that. But how can you say with a straight face, if you're part of the foreign policy apparatus of the United States, that if you supply weapons that kill Americans, then you're just as guilty? The United States supplies weapons to everybody. If you're supplying weapons to Ukraine, and if you're supplying weapons to Israel, who's bombing the Gazans, aren't you responsible? I mean, the hypocrisy goes beyond belief. But this right here, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're talking about when we say this could spin out of control. This could be something very serious here. We need to get it under control. We have to understand that if you're messing with Iran, you're not just simply messing with Iran. You're messing with China. You're messing with Russia. And now they're getting together and they're having a Navy party. And this is going to take place, I believe, in the Med. I don't know where it's going to take place. I read something about it. I forgot. But this is going to happen. This is going to happen soon. They're no longer the dicky countries that's going to sit still. And there's a lot of neocons out there that even though they want endless war and they want war with Iran, they understand fighting Iran just by itself will be difficult. So that's just the news update right now. We got to be careful, ladies and gentlemen. We don't want all-out war. Things can get really out of control. YouTube still plays those crazy games where they like to unsubscribe people for whatever reason. I don't know if it's part of an algorithm or whatnot, but make sure you're subscribed and make sure you hit that bell and like, share, subscribe to the show. We're going to have this whole show clipped up. We're going to do it the same way we've been doing it on the Convo Couch for many years. We do a whole show, a live show, and then we have certain segments. We're going to repost the segments out there so you can share the shorter versions of the subjects that you like or that you want to share. And that's the most important thing you can do. A lot of us don't have any coin to spare, but we can share, right? That rhymed. We don't have any coin to spare, but we can share. So do me a favor and share, share, share.